Maria, as a former politician, I want to ask you about dilemmas the politicians in democratic countries can have. How to handle the extreme situations where from one side you are a Democrat, you want to follow all the rules, but from the other side you have to be effective.
Well, let me say that the extreme situation is where we are faced with an authoritarian regime. Well, Poland, in his history, has a long memory about this. And frankly, I would like to make a comment on the human feelings, because it's true that fear is an important human feeling, but there is another one, which I believe is more powerful, is the desire for freedom. And there are moments where the desire for freedom becomes stronger than the feeling of fear. Of course, I'm saying that because I'm pretty sure that in Polish public opinion, this is fully understood. But I can also refer my own example in my home country, which is Portugal, when we were also confronted with the authoritarian regime waging war in Africa, the colonial war. And there is a moment where Portuguese population, they were afraid of the political police, but then they also said, but we don't like this war, and we'll make a democratic revolution to end this war. And this happened.
But when is this moment? How can you describe this moment? And sometimes, you know, people don't care for anything more than just freedom. Because Poland, my country, remembers also this very well. So are we now in a moment in Europe that still freedom is more important or fear?
Well, this is exactly the big question, because for the time being, I think we are in the gray zone. On the one hand, people want to have security. They are afraid of a pre-war situation. On the other hand, we have democratic regimes. And so the big moment of choice will come when the trade-off will be clearer, if this will happen. So if the threats against security will be higher, more visible, and on the other hand, democracy will start being limited and sacrificed with this argument. This is the crossroad moment. This is where people, they need to make a choice.
But we discussed very often the situation within the EU. We discussed that we have a feeling that European politicians, European countries cannot always deliver to the expectations of people. And people now are afraid and they want security guarantees. As a former politician, as a current thinker, what do you think we could do to, from one side, give them this feeling, but from the other side, keep the human rights, keep our freedoms?
Well, I can give a very clear example, which is happening right now, is that in many countries, we see, and more people are understanding this, that our right to make democratic choices, example in the elections, is being undermined by the interference of other foreign countries which are using social networks, big tech platforms, to undermine our right to have a proper debate and then choose.
So foreign actor mingles in our elections.
Exactly. We have now many examples of this in Europe. And I think there is increased awareness for many citizens in Europe. And they are saying, we want our freedom to choose democratically to be respected. And we cannot accept that this right is undermined. So this is a new kind of security we need to build up, which is the security for our democracy to operate. So we need to defend ourselves from interference, because, you know, today warfare is not only about military invasion. Warfare is our space, our democratic space, being invaded by forces we don't control, and who are against us. And we have several examples of these happening in several European countries running elections.
So the word here used normally is resilience. We use this magic word, but what, for you, what does it mean exactly? How this resilient Europe should look like?
Is exactly something which should start with education. One of the interlocutors referred to this. So we need to make sure that children, young people, adult people, they have a profound sense of freedom and the democratic space, and they are prepared to identify new threats against this freedom. And the threats now we understand is not only about limiting our bodies physically. The threats are more sophisticated. They are entering in our minds. They are influencing the way we perceive reality. And if we're not prepared to understand these, in fact, our real freedom will be limited. So I believe that we need to prepare a new understanding about what is freedom in the 21st century, when threats, pressure can come upon us with new means, notably the digital ones. So and this is in fact a
when I'm listening to what you're saying, it comes to my mind that we need a kind of a new social contract, an upgrade, an updated version of the 21st century regime in democracy, to be able, first of all, to build the resilience on the basis of people who would understand more, not less, out of what's happening. But on the other side, we need also very capable politicians. So in what way do you see that European politicians can fit into this need?
Well, right now, here in Brussels, we have a big debate about this. Because over the last 4 years, Europe was very organized to regulate the big platforms and social networks interfering in our public debate. But now we are concluding this is not enough, and that politicians, together with the citizens, they should really build a new infrastructure, a new media infrastructure, to support democracy, because media is the infrastructure of democracy, and we need to have an infrastructure allowing quality media, providing quality information to be available for larger audiences and enabling people to make real democratic choices in full freedom.
So I understand your argument about the media and especially, new technologies, but coming back to the political reality of a politician, we quoted the example of pandemic. Maybe we'll have another, pandemic in the future, who knows? But we may have a war. What is your personal opinion? Where is the line that a European democratic leader can jump into being more autocratic, because that's the time, that's the special time, and where is the barrier that he or she should not go beyond it?
Well, for sure, there are limits to create a barrier for human rights. One example is the right to free opinion. I think we need absolutely to keep this right, because debate is the essence of a democracy. And the enlightened leader, if this is he's confronted or she is confronted with a war situation, he or she should know that the best way to resist to a war or an invasion is the so-called democratic resilience, is to have people really supporting the action against the invader. If this connection is lost, because the leader becomes an authoritarian one, the war will probably be lost.
Thank you.
We have many lessons like that.
Thank you. It's exactly what I think could be a result of a very good debate, which is a basis for our democracy. Thank you, Maria Joao Rodriguez.
Thank you too. Pleasure.